Auténtico Podcast. I've been to a couple of networking events in the last few weeks, and it feels like a handful of people make the comment, I see you have been busy, or I see you everywhere, and I can't help but feel confused. You see, at the beginning of the year, my boss had talked with me about taking vacation time and about how important it was for me, for all of us really, to fill our cups so that we can be more impactful in our work. So when the junta, my tribe of accountability partners, met to plan for a year at the very beginning of 2024, I committed, and actually we all did, to slow down. So since the beginning of this year, I've been working to make sure I'm home for dinner most days, then not. Working on making sure I still do my work, but I flex my time. And I try to keep the bulk of my work during the work hours instead of how I was doing last year and for many years before that. Always on email, always on the go, leaving one meeting to attend another. And so this leads me to another question I get asked all the time about my drive, about how I get things done. And actually, in the last few months, I feel the opposite. I realize I've lost some of my drive and motivation. And how do I move out of that? I don't feel driven to do some of the things I set out to do this year. I don't feel driven to go to the gym or to walk or exercise. Lately, I only feel driven to come home and watch Netflix on the couch with Victor. Ambition for me usually says I want something more, and I hear it loud and clear. I want to contribute more, serve more, make a difference more. But like I said, in the last few weeks, I feel like I've disengaged and gotten detached from bigger thinking. So today, I want to talk about that because bigger thinking should be celebrated, rewarded. That's what moves the needle in our community further. So if you're feeling like me today, where you have lost some of that drive, I want to talk to you because we need you, all of you. So if you've lost that sense of drive, it's time to reconnect with that ambition and ask ourselves, how do we want to lead better? What do we want to do different? Is it because you're tired? What's your energy like, mentally and physically? And honestly, we all have ups and downs on energy, on drive. That's normal. But it's when it becomes a pattern of low energy, like I've been having lately, when I really think it's important to figure out why. What's behind that low? Because when your energy is low, so will your output. So first, make sure your health is good. And then let's brainstorm some next steps together. Are you worn out? How do you usually recuperate? Do you journal or read a good book? Maybe you meditate or work out. So I would say the first step is to figure out what you need right now and let's do it. Earlier this year, I had a conversation with my boss about the fact that I hadn't taken all of my vacation in 2023. And I feel like she finally drove the point home that in order to do my best work, I need to be operating with the full cup. So I'm going to ask you that right now. What do you need to be able to function at your full potential with the full cup? So working out, whether it's walking around my neighborhood or running or yoga, the physical movement has usually been what keeps my energy and what helps me shift my energy. But I haven't even been able to think about doing those things. Why? No reason except I want to veg out. So now let's look at what daily habits you should get back to, or other habits you need to get rid of. I think especially shifting from my birthday month in March, where it's a full month of celebration, I have noticed I was celebrating more often, and not just the drinking, but also eating heavier and later at night, going out to eat more. I can't even blame my sister Veronica, who's usually the one that pressures me to go out because she moved to Michigan earlier this year. So how do I stop going out to celebrate late at night? Or even everyday lunches, because those add up too. So I'm going to ask you, what habits have you fallen into that you should revisit? I also feel like I tend to take a break during March. Yes, I have been doing Self-Care Wednesday since the beginning of the year, but I've also really slowed down. And sometimes I have to find that balance between slowing down and totally stopping. So if I'm being honest, sometimes I feel like slowing down just slows me down too much. What about you? Are you doing the things that are a priority for you and your goals? Because it's not just about being busy. Are you actually doing the things you know will help you make progress in your job, in your career, in that project you've been thinking about, in your life? Because when you get back to those priorities and start to see the results, it is so motivating. Unfortunately, we don't stay motivated. That's just the fact of life. Think about it as the domino effect. You know you want to do something. You know you want to write that book. You know you want to start that podcast. You know you want to start your healthy journey. All it takes is that first step. So you're that domino, that very first one. And as soon as you find a leap into the other dominoes, you'll see the movement. But until you do, it's going to be hard. So let's start thinking, and I want to, in the next couple of podcast episodes, also help you identify what's going to get you to take that step. What's stopping you from taking that step? Lastly, my mom always says, dime con quien te juntas y te diré quién eres. Basically, tell me who you hang out with, and I'll tell you who you are. The people around us will either support our drive and inspiration, or they're going to get in the way. It's the ugly truth. For me, it's not people necessarily, but rather Netflix. Because it's so easy to just come home and sit on my couch and detach from everything as I get to know Maria, who was married to a stranger so that she and her family could have food on the table, or to follow a detective as he works his case, and on and on. I have to get out of this rut and start to reassociate with others working on their dreams, which means not coming home right after work day or making conscious decisions to invite others to work on things together. Now, I'm not saying it's someone else's fault that I'm not focused, but I do know that surrounding myself with awesome people who are also working on big dreams helps me keep up, continue to level up, and by default, I inspire them, then they inspire me. It's a circle of encouragement. So now it's your turn to actively look at what's zapping your energy. What is zapping your drive and motivation? And what small changes can you make every day to get back to being inspired and working on your dreams? I'd love to hear what aha moments came up for you or how you've experienced this in the past, because your feedback is important to me and I love reading your comments. So be sure to let me know. You can also leave me a voice message and maybe I can include it in a future episode. So with that, thank you for tuning in, and remember to be kind, be auténtico, and be you. I'll see you over on the website where you can take a look at the blog post and past episodes. I believe in you, and I know we're stronger together. So share the content with others who may benefit as well.